Now that's a lot harder. Pantomimes are wonderful. They have a long tradition, and if you get a chance to see one, I strongly suggest you do. Now, they really do. I mean, I'm sure you can find some on probably YouTube. They've got things. The thing is, you might get an idea of what they are, but you won't get the atmosphere. And I have always maintained that the best ones are not the big ones. Like, for example, you would have one in Bournemouth, which would have stars from television or whatever in it. But the smaller ones, places like Salisbury and Richmond, I used to go to Richmond as a child, with small theatres and little troupes with no big famous names in them, but they're wonderful. Usually what they do is they take a fairy story and they play out the fairy story on stage, but there are certain characters that all pantomimes have. Number one, they have the principal boy, which is, for example, the prince in Cinderella, and that is always played by a girl, a woman, a young woman, and she wears a very short tunic and tights, and she plays the boy. You see, it's got very old roots. There are usually comedic roles, played by men or women. Oh God, it's really hard to explain. There is also the phenomenon known as the pantomime dame, which, with the outcry in America about drag queens, has come to the fore, because obviously Brits are going, but pantomime dames, have you not seen a pantomime? Apparently you haven't. It is a woman, an older woman in the story, who is played by a man, and she's dressed up and she's wearing lots of wigs and makeup, like a drag queen really. And the playoff, it then there's the innocent, the kind of star of it, Cinderella, for example. You would have, let's take Cinderella because it's easiest, you would have the prince, which would be played by a young woman in tights and a tunic. You would have Cinderella, which would be played by a young woman, and she would look very beautiful and pretty. And then you would have the ugly sisters, who would be played by pantomime dames, and they do comic routines, and they're horrible to the principal girl, and there's lots of set routines. Everybody knows them, so there's the thing, oh, come on and go, I can't find him, where is he? He's behind you. Lots of fun. The audience join in, they'll throw out things like sweets, they'll get children up to join in. It's enormous fun. Everybody really, really enjoys it. It, again, like crackers, it sounds even more batty, but to really get the maximum enjoyment, you do need to go and see one, because then the whole theatre joins in. It's not just something that you passively watch, it's something that you take your family and your children to, and the children join in, and it's a full experience. I cannot recommend them highly enough. They're enormous fun. I used to go to Richmond Theatre on the day after Boxing Day every year, and I loved it.